Delay versus disruption. These are most used terminologies in construction industry, but most of the times they are confused for each other. You use disruption in the name of delay, and we use delay in the name of disruption. So today, let's see what is the clarity between what is a delay and what is a disruption. So what is a delay? A delay occurs. The project completion is postponed beyond the planned completion date. So when a disruption occurs, it is a disturbance or interruption of planned work that may lead to inefficiencies in the output or productivity loss. So not necessarily a disruption has to result in a delay. It may or may not have a delay, but you will not be able to get the efficient output from the disruption. So what are the causes? You have seen so many number of causes for delays. Like we have populated 56 number of causes for the delays in different phases of the project, like engineering, procurement, construction, project management, finance, and even human behaviors. So there are so many number of causes of delays. So a few of the examples are like unforeseen site conditions, weather, design changes, resource constraints. Unforeseen site conditions that the contractor is not aware at the time of signing of contract. When he enters into the execution, he feels that there are some site conditions. For example, when the excavation is going on, if they are seeing a big concrete tunnel inside the excavation, it is not in the topographical reports, it is not in the soil investigation reports, and it is given by the employer to the contractor. So the contractor, it is a surprise for both of them. So now you will be very clear that to remove this excavation underneath, it will take additional 6 months because I have to remove the concrete structure. So this 6 months is very visible, and that is a delay. So similarly, we have weather. For example, there is a flood. It took 6 months, or it took 6 days to go out or to drain out. So this 6 days will directly taken as the delay event, and it's very clear. Design changes. For example, the structure has to be so and so, but now the structure has been changed, or the size of the columns has been increased. So now this increase is going to affect me additional so many days. So the delay is very transparent in terms of delay. But when it comes to disruption, it is caused by inadequate planning, which is very not easy to measure, poor coordinations, labor strikes, equipment breakdowns, changes in scopes. So, for example, let's take an excavation work. 2 people has to excavate this in 2 days. So they have started excavating on the same day as planned. So there is no delay. But they have to complete within 2 days, but they have not completed within 2 days, it's going to 4 days. So that is a visible delay. But if you see any idle manpower, no, there is no idle manpower. The people are working for all the 4 days. So does it mean that they have not planned it properly? Might be. Is it that the 2 people who are working are not working efficiently? Might be. The productivity might be less, or the 2 people working are working in a good output, but still the requirements like machineries, which has to be coordinated or supplied by the supervisors, is not being done, then that's poor coordination. So these things you cannot measure easily. But still there are methodologies to measure. We'll see that later how it will be measured. So what is the effect in terms of delay? Of course, it affects the critical path. When the critical path is affected, the project timeline or the delivery date automatically gets extended. But what is the effect in terms of disruption? Not necessarily the project date has to get delayed. There might be reduced output. Definitely it will increase the cost. So there might be reworks, productivity losses. You will not be able to achieve what has been planned. So coming to delay analysis methods. So what does the delay analysis methods do? There are standards from Society of Consecutive Delay and Disruption Protocol, AIC 29 or 034 retrospective and 56 or 034 prospective. There are so many guidelines. And these guidelines will assess the impact of the delay and sets the attributability, that is the responsibility. Who is responsible for the delay? It's the contractor, or it's the employer, or it is the third party. It might be force majeure, or it might be authorities. And what is the eligibility in terms of time calculations for the extension of time? So effect for disruption analysis, it identifies or quantifies the effects and evaluates the associated costs and establishes liabilities. Not if necessary, it has to be established when it goes for compensation of time or cost. So let's take an example. The contractor falls behind the schedule due to the equipment breakdown. Definitely the delay is due to the contractor because the equipment should be proper, and if any delay due to the equipment breakdown or any idleness, it is the contractor's issue. For example, so the resolution is, if the machinery belongs to contractor, it's liquidated damage. The machinery belongs to the employer, it ends up in the time extension. So it depends on the attributability. That's why in delay, attributability plays a very, very major role. So when it comes to disruption, the poor coordinated works, it leads to reworks and productivity loss. So reworks, like you are completing your work on time and you are asking for an inspection. When the quality inspector comes and inspects and sees that the work done is not as per the quality requirements, he asks for a rework. Then again rework is done, but in the plan, there will not be any activity for the rework. It will say that the planned activity is being extended beyond the timeline. So what are the resolution for this disruption? A claim for additional costs or productivity loss or negotiation for equitable adjustments. So disruptions in COVID, for example, when there are COVID claims, the most of the analysis were disruption, not delay. For example, only the quarantine days or the lockdown days will be considered as a delay. So the site was locked down for 30 days. So it's very visible. The delay is 30 days. But when the contractor has to start the work with additional impositions, like you have to wear a mask, you have to do the sanitations at site, and people should not work. For example, where 50 people worked in a confined space has to be reduced to 25. And people, if 60 people are traveling in a bus, they are reduced to 30. So that will result in either you have to put 2 buses or you have to bring the people in 2 trips where you lost time. So that's the disruption. So similar disruptions has occurred for a long time in getting approvals, in entering the site, in measuring the temperatures. So these are the things that will result in disruption, which is not easy to find using the normal methodologies we use for delay. For example, for delay, we use the time impact analysis method, prospectively, impacted as planned prospectively. And when it comes to retrospective, we have as planned as successful, collapse is built, retrospective longest path. But in disruption, the majorly used common methodology is measured milestone. So you are measuring with reference to a milestone which is achieved without disruption, and you are comparing it with disruption, and you are proving that without disruption this is my performance, and with disruption this is my performance. So I'm eligible for the delay, or I'm eligible for the acceleration being done, or I'm eligible for the cost which we have lost in the additional resources. Thank you.